So my brothers and my sisters, as we embrace this urgency of creating the beloved community, now is the time to be love. Love means understanding, redemptive goodwill toward all, which seeks nothing in return. So be love by implementing the demands of justice to eliminate the school to prison pipeline that has so many black children entrapped. Be love by correcting voting policies that seek to suppress the votes of millions of black and brown people. Be love and implement the demands of justice by transforming a society that is disproportionately violent toward black lives, including black transgendered lives and indigenous lives. Be love and correct false narratives and economic policies that continue to divide and pit poor and working class black and white people against each other. Be love and implement demands of justice where systems and structures are deconstructed and lead the way of living in community that reimagines just, humane, equitable, and sustainable policies, practices, and behaviors. Love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them who hate you, and pray for them that despitefully use you and abuse you. Be love and do justice and love mercy and walk humbly with our God.
Students with King serves as the King Center's flagship engagement platform for elementary, middle, and high school students, highlighting the legacies of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Mrs. Coretta Scott King, and the impact of the 20th century American Civil Rights Movement. Our dynamic and interactive programming has reached over 1 million students worldwide. Our core learning programs introduce students to the philosophy of Kingian nonviolence, coined Nonviolence 365, and provide important lessons about how they can apply nonviolence in their immediate environments. Whether you're an educator who is looking for ways to bring the King legacy into your classroom, a student who wants to learn more about this powerful moral movement, or a parent who wants to get your child involved in character building and literacy development activities, Students with King is your one-stop shop for unique lesson plans, teaching resources, educational field trips, and other opportunities to engage with the history of the American Civil Rights Movement and its powerful leaders. We look forward to engaging with you and your students. Together we can build the next generation of compassionate, courageous, and conscientious leaders.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to the October edition of Students with King Reading Corner. Man, I'm so excited. This is going to be an amazing program, and we got a couple of surprises up in this program, too. So y'all going to want to make sure y'all stay tuned in throughout the entire program of Students with King. You guys already know the drill. It is time for the roll call. We want to know where you guys are watching from, so shout out your classroom, your city, your state, your school, all that good stuff. We want to know where you guys are tuning in from so we can shout y'all out and let people know where we have people tuning in from this morning for Students with King Reading Corner. Also, teachers, we have a survey we would like for you guys to fill out. It's in the top corner, and it's also right here in the center of your screen. Please take our survey. This helps us improve with Students with King Reading Corner, helps us make the program better, and we want to know you all's feedback so we can continue to serve you guys in a high positive way. So please make sure you take your cell phones, scan that QR code, and take the survey. Also, we will be bringing up our amazing author, Miss Alice Faye Duncan, who wrote this amazing book. It's called Memphis, Martin, and the Mountaintop, and she's going to be reading her amazing book today. We're so excited to have her. Oh, and we got Shamika Parker tuning in, Flat Shoals, 3rd grade, Conyers, Georgia. We got Christia Cornelia from Georgia, Cornelia, Georgia. Appreciate you guys so much tuning in. We got Avondale Elementary, 4th grade. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Sims Elementary here. Good morning. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it. Mr. Thomas, Avondale Elementary School, DeKalb County, Georgia. Okay, DeKalb, we got DeKalb on up in the house. I love it. All right, guys, let's bring in our amazing author, Miss Alice Faye Duncan, who's going to be doing this amazing book reading. Miss Alice, how are you doing on this amazing morning?
Good morning, Tyreek. I'm doing so well. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. We are so excited to have you. And you are no stranger to Students of the King. You've done this plenty of times, so we know you're going to knock it out of the park. But you had this amazing book, Memphis, Martin, and the Mountaintop, and you're going to be reading this to the students.
Absolutely. Today, students, we are going to have fun with poetry, affirmations, and we're going to be discussing a little history about Dr. King.
Awesome. So let's get into it.
Good morning. As we've mentioned, today's book for you is Memphis, Martin, and the Mountaintop, the sanitation strike of 1968. Now, a lot of kids, you all know books about Dr. King in Selma, Dr. King in Washington, D.C., Dr. King in Montgomery, but few of you know the story of Dr. King's final campaign about money, economic rights, and that final campaign happened in Memphis, where he also was assassinated. So today we're going to go over, be introduced, learn about Dr. King and the great events and the harrowing events and the pursuit of economic rights, civil rights, when he came to Memphis. So this is the order of our program. We're going to have an affirmation. We're going to see what you already know about King. We're going to talk about who inspired me, which was namely Dr. King. And we're going to talk about how when I was a child, quote unquote, I met Dr. King. And then we're going to go over the poems and what I call lessons from the mountaintop. Now, I want everyone to put your hand on your heart. Everyone put your hand on your heart. And today's morning affirmation, an affirmation is a word that it can encourage you. I want you to repeat after me, wherever you are. Repeat after me. I am a gift. I am a blessing. I am the one who makes dreams happen. Say it again. I am a gift. I am a blessing. I am the one that makes dreams happen. That is our affirmation for this morning. I want to remind you that there are no accidents. There are no mistakes. Because you are in this world, God has ordained that you be here at this very moment so that you can be a blessing to the world. And so your one obligation, your one responsibility is to learn and to discover what is your gift. And that is why we go to school, because school helps us to unwrap and discover our gifts. Now, a lot of us know about Dr. King, right? King in Selma, King in Montgomery, King in Washington, D.C. But today, when you leave the program, I want you to understand what Dr. King stood for, what he was fighting for. If you know nothing else about Dr. King, if you learn nothing else, we want you to understand today that Dr. King, he spoke against and denounced the three evils in the world. Dr. King stood against no poverty, no racism, no war. Just like Fannie Lou Hamer, Dr. King believed nobody is free until everybody is free. What did Dr. King stand against? He was against the three triple evils: no poverty, no racism, no war. And so we too must be concerned. We must be concerned that everyone in America has housing, has shelter. We need to be concerned that nobody is being prejudiced against because of the color of the skin or because of who they are. And we need to be speaking up. Like right now, the world has so much war. So we need to be speaking up, standing against war, and being a advocate of peace. And you know what? You might not be able to change anything about the war, but you can be a person of peace. And how do you do that? You stand up against bullying. You don't talk about people. You don't gossip. You promote peace among your friends. Now, when I was a child, Dr. King was an inspiration to me, but also another inspiration to me was Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was an inspiration because she ran away for freedom so that she could be able to have agency over her life and so that she would be able to read and write. So today, when you go to school, I don't want to ever hear kids say, oh, I don't like to read, I don't like to write, because in this world, there were people like Martin and there were people like Harriet Tubman that fought against racism, that fought against war, so that you could be in that school right now learning to read or write. So it is a sin. It is, as old people say, it is a crying shame. Don't ever let me hear you say, I don't like to read, I don't like to write. Because people like Martin Luther King and people like Harriet Tubman fought so that you could be in that school doing what? Learning, reading, and writing. Everybody say, right on, right on, right on. Everybody say, read on, read on, read on. All right. And so I told you as we were going over the program, I told you that I was inspired by Dr. King as a child because I grew up in Memphis. And so there are a lot of landmarks in Memphis that point to where King traveled when he came to my city. And so as a child, because my mom and my dad talked about Dr. King so much, I felt that I knew Dr. King. I told my second grade teacher, I said, Dr. King is a friend of mine. She was like, Alice, be quiet. Dr. King is dead. And I was like, but he's still my friend. And so today, I hope that as we go over these poems, that Dr. King also becomes your friend. And just for something, amusing, here's a picture of me, Alice Faye Duncan, when I was in the third grade. And so now we want to come to my book, Memphis, Martin, and the Mountaintop, which is about the sanitation strike of 1968. And it is also this time in history when Dr. King preached, they say, his own eulogy in Memphis. And he was assassinated. And you know what I like to say? I like to say that Dr. King died so that I can live. Dr. King died so that you can live. And when he came to Memphis, this is the word that he said. He said that for when people get caught up with that which is right and they are willing to sacrifice for it, there is no stopping point short of victory. So Dr. King is not here today, but who is his legacy now? Who will now speak against war? Who will now speak against racism? Who will now speak against poverty? Let me hear you say, I will, because you are Dr. King's legacy. And so the first poem in our book, Memphis, Martin, and Mountaintop, this is the poem that explains that freedom, working together for freedom, is a family affair. And it explains what happened in 68 when Dr. King came to Memphis. Now, some of you may have been to Memphis and the Lorraine Motel, which is a place where Dr. King was assassinated. I like to say Atlanta is the place where he was born, and Memphis is his Golgotha's heel. Memphis is his Calvary's cross. And so today I'm going to read for you the first poem about Dr. King visiting Memphis. It's called Memphis, 1968. And it goes, I remember Memphis. I remember the stinking sanitation strike. Alley cats, rats, and dogs rummaged through piles of trash. Black men marched through Memphis with protest signs raised high. I also marched in 68 with red ribbons in my hair. I remember Memphis and legions of noble men. I remember broken glass and the voice of a fallen king. Fire, smoke, and ashes ravaged midnight cityscapes. Black men marched for honor, and I must tell the story. You must tell the story so that no one will forget it. What I want to say here is that Dr. King came from Memphis fighting for economic rights, helping the sanitation strikers get higher pay. And we must never forget this story. You must tell the story. I must tell the story how Dr. King, when he came to Memphis, it was not about bus tickets, it was not about coffee at a counter. It was about so that Black, white, yellow, brown, all the people in America could receive a living wage, enough money to take care of their families. And so the civil rights movement in Memphis became the silver, as in money, the civil rights movement. I want you to remember that. Next. Now, my question to you is, what is your battle cry? Are you willing to stand alone? When it comes to fighting for justice and when it comes to just doing the right thing, right? That takes courage. And sometimes you have to stand alone. And in Memphis, there were Black and white people working to help the sanitation workers earn higher pay. One of them was a white man. His name was Tommy Moore. And when Dr. King was planning to come to Memphis to march with the striking sanitation workers, the day that he had planned to march, at the beginning of spring, it snowed, 16 inches of snow. But Tommy Moore said, you know what? The sanitation workers don't have coats, don't have hats, don't have good shoes for the snow, but I do. So he stood alone and he marched for them. This is a haiku. It's called Omen. Yellow daffodils, 16 inches under snow. King canceled his march. King canceled the march, but the march moved on. Next. And now we come to the third poem. Because in Memphis Martin and Mountaintop, the main character is a little girl. And when Dr. King is assassinated, teenagers all over the world, they start riots because riots are the voices of the unheard. But this little girl in Memphis Martin and Mountaintop, she decides that instead of rioting, the way she will purge her pain is that she will write a poem. And so Lorraine Jackson wrote a poem in dedication of Dr. King when he was assassinated in Memphis in our book. And the poem is, "The King is Dead." If you would, repeat after me. The king is dead. Not long ago, there lived a king. He did not sleep in a castle. He did not wear a crown. He did not rule a royal court or ride in chariots. The king marched in the street. The king lived to help the poor. He lived for peace and love. Hate killed the king. The king is dead. What will the people do? Hate killed the king. The king is dead. What will you do? Look at your neighbor. Ask your neighbor, what will you do? Harriet is not here. Martin is not here, but you are here. Today, dedicate yourself to doing something for peace, something for love, helping somebody. Be a grace giver and not a fault finder. And lastly, our lesson from the mountaintop is, I want you to every day to get up in the morning, say thank you for life. And when your feet hit the floor, I want you to expect miracles. Expect miracles, like the miracles that Dr. King encountered. He encountered the miracle of meeting President Kennedy when President Kennedy helped him be released from the Reidsville Penitentiary. Dr. King encountered a miracle when he met Reverend James Lawson, and then it was Dr. King who helped James Lawson help the striking workers. Dr. King encountered a miracle when he was from Georgia. Coretta Scott King was from Alabama, but they had to go all the way to Boston, where they miraculously met, fell in love, married, and began a freedom movement. God works in miracles. Expect a miracle today in your life. And now, boys and girls, it's time for our special guest. Our special guest is going to be Landon from first grade in Atlanta, and he's going to lead us in a demonstration of our poem, Mountaintop. Good morning, Landon. Take it away.
Dream big, walk tall, be strong, march on, don't quit, never stop, climb up the mountaintop.
And Landon, so that all the people can say it together, because we want them to remember this poem. Children out there in YouTube land, repeat after me. Dream big.
Dream big,
Walk tall.
walk tall,
Be strong.
be strong,
March on.
march on,
Don't quit.
don't quit,
Never stop.
never stop,
Climb up
climb up
the mountaintop.
the mountaintop.
Thank you, Landon. You are wonderful.
You
Next. And so, boys and girls, today we have had a time. I want you to know that Memphis Martin and the Mountaintop is a book. Teachers, it is available in the King Center bookstore. When you purchase that book from the King Center, you help the King Center provide free programs like the one you've experienced today. Teachers and librarians, I want you to know that the new book about Coretta Scott King, Coretta's Journey, that is available now. That will be coming to the King Center. And I want to thank all of you. And I want you to remember a quote from Coretta Scott King. She said, freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation. Remember this, young children. Every generation has a freedom movement, and you are the leaders of that movement. So put on your, say it with me, marching shoes. You are the leader of this new freedom movement. So put on your marching shoes. Teachers, be sure to do the survey. Do the survey. Let the King Center know how your students enjoyed this program. Evaluate in that survey the efficacy of this learning experience. We will thank you. We thank you for doing that, because again, with your response, we can offer more programs. And when you purchase the book from the King Center, we can also offer more programs. This program is completely free and to you, because we want the children to learn and to be inspired by our trailblazers and our history makers that have gone before us. Next, here we are, Tyreek. Here we are.
Yes. First of all, I just want to say that was fantastic. We haven't had anything like that on Students with King. That was different. We were able to read some poems, and it was a big learning lesson within it too. And I want to kick it off with this. And by the way, students and teachers, if y'all have questions, please comment those in the chat, and I'll try to get to them as many as possible. But I want to start with this. You said, somebody said, awesome job, Landon. Yeah, you did a great job. Congrats to Landon. One of the youngest persons on Students with King. We love that.
Sure.
Yeah. Says, thank you, Alice and Landon. Much appreciated.
Scarsdale, New York. All right, now.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. Go Landon. Okay, Landon. Hey, Landon, you getting a lot of love on up in here.
Landon's gonna take your job, Tyreek. He's coming for your job.
Oh yeah, man, that's funny. So what I do want to get to is I saw this thing in there, really stuck out to me, and I want to know what if you could break that down for the students and stuff and tell us what it means to you. But there was something in there that I really liked, and it said, nobody is free until we are all free, or something to that extent that is said in
Exactly.
there. Can you tell us what that means?
Yes, that is a statement. I think it was made popular by Fannie Lou Hamer. And so what that means, nobody is free until we're all free, is that like when it happens to me all the time, like when I'm in a big city like Atlanta, in Memphis, and you pass the homeless, but every day I'm going home to a house while other people are living, you know, outdoors and living under bridges and living in tents, living in parks. It means, then how can my soul rest if someone else in the world doesn't have shelter? So I have to ask myself, like, in my own little way, how can I contribute to help those people who are without shelter? So I look around, it's like, how can I help? Well, for me, because I'm grown, I have a job, what I do is I help the people in my city, the nonprofits who feed the homeless. And so I just make my donation there, because I'm here on Zoom with you. I don't have the time to go and actually feed them, but I can then provide the food. So wherever you are, you're never too young to help. Whenever you see a problem, it also becomes your problem. And so you should ask yourself, well, how in my own little way can I help? Because if you in your own little way help, Tariq in his own little way help, everybody you're teaching own little way, all of us come together, then our little bit has then come together to solve a very big problem, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay. I love that. And I want to ask you this too, because, speaking of help, there was also something in there where you were talking about the no poverty, the no war and stuff like that.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So what I want to know is, there is war happening right now in the world. There is poverty and stuff. What can students do now to, combat that?
First of all, you can pray for peace, but then you can also be a peacemaker where you are. So then if there is already trouble in the world, but you're right there in that school, you can't make it to the Ukraine, you can't make it to Israel, but you can pray for peace. And right where you are, you can be a peacemaker. In the classroom, there are oftentimes children having grudges, children operating in cliques. Right now, today, I say, hey, break up your clique and unite with other kids. Right now, today, I say, when you get to school tomorrow, make them, I'm not going to talk about nobody. I'm not going to spread rumors. I'm not going to gossip. I'm going to be a peacemaker, because there's already enough trouble in the world. Be a part of the solution. Don't be the problem. Praise the Lord. I know I'm preaching good now.
I know. I like that. Oh, we got some Heritage Mom says, good morning from Heritage Homeschoolers of Cobb County. Our kids really enjoyed the poems and the program. Yes, no one is free until we're all free. Love that. And then Felice, this has been a great program. Thanks to all who took part. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys' positive commentary. Shine on. Oh, yeah. Shine on. Hey, listen.
Right. And, and I just want to remind, I want to remind Tariq, I want to remind the teachers again that this program has been made free by the King Center. So do support the King Center. Go online to their website. And if your library, like, because I know Miss Coakley, her library, they already have Memphis Martin and Mountaintop, but if there are other books there at the King Center bookstore that you can purchase that you don't have, please do that. Please pick up a new copy of my book, Coretta's Journey. It was just released on September the 26th. And before you do anything else, before you even go to purchase that book from the King Center, be sure to do the survey, because the King Center wants to give you more literacy programs like this one that are free and that will edify the learning of your children and also edify the social, emotional health of your children during these trying times.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, we first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on Students with King Reading Corner. Like I said, you've been here before, so of course you always knock it out.
Always fun.
Oh yeah, we appreciate that, and I appreciate you so much for coming on and teaching and educating us on on things that took place, because this was very formal. We were actually able to learn a whole lot. And I know the students and the teachers were able to learn a whole lot as well. Oh, and then we also got something else. Good morning, listening in from Raleigh.
All right now, Raleigh.
Message. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you guys. Yeah, that's awesome. So like I said, appreciate you so much for coming. And guys, listen, it has been an amazing pleasure being your moderator. I'm Tyreek Wynn, news anchor for iHeartRadio. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram, TyreekWynn.iHeartRadio. It was a pleasure being your moderator today. Also, just want to mention again, make sure you guys take time to fill out the QR code. This helps us improve here as Students with King Reading Corner. We want you guys' commentary. We want to know how we can best continue to help serve you guys in a great, positive, high way. So make sure you guys please scan that QR code with your cell phones and take our survey. It really helps us out tremendously. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to this amazing October edition of Students with King Reading Corner. Tune in next month because we're going to have another Students with King Reading Corner. We're going to keep this thing going, guys. So make sure y'all stay tuned in. Our next Students with King Reading Corner is actually going to be on November 14th, same time, same place, 10 a.m. Make sure you sign up on the website, thekingcenter.org. You can tune in. You can tune in on Facebook. You can tune in on the YouTube channel. And hey, it's going to be a great program. And also make sure you take this video, share it with somebody so they can be impacted in a positive way as well. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Here's a video.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bernice A. King.
And I'm Dr. Kimberly P. Johnson.
And we are the co-authors of
It Starts With Me. Well, it starts with me.
No, I think it really starts with me.
No.
Well, maybe it just starts with you.
It starts with you.
This is a book for children and the rest of the world about love. A powerful word that really can change and transform our world. Now, this girl here is Amora. So Amora is going to take us on a journey around the world with her friends, talking about how we can be loved.
Thank you so much for reading this book. It Starts With Me. Dr. King's vision is coming to life, and you guys are going to carry that vision into the world. Have fun reading.
We want our children and you parents to be loved in the way you speak, in the way you act, and in the way you think. That's what It Starts With Me about. It starts with me. I am the one who infects the world with love.
It starts with me.